back to Caffeine and Crime and back to season 2, serial killer season. Today we are wrapping up the case that is Nannie Doss, and if you guys weren't freaked out enough with part 1, here we go diving into part 2. But if you did miss part 1, you definitely want to check it out before you continue watching this. And if you are clicking on this video, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming back. And if you are new here, I hope you subscribe and stay. Make sure you're checking out the videos that are going up Friday. I'm having such a fun time re-editing those. And also the newest season that is on all podcast platforms. You can hit the link in the description to catch up on those as well. I hope you enjoy, and let's dive into part 2 of Nannie Doss. To where we left off, let's tally things up for a minute. So, little spoiler, if you guys haven't listened to part 1, make sure you guys do, because it has every single detail there, so you will get more of the story there, because the rest of this tally is just going to be kind of like mind-boggling if you haven't listened to that. I mean, it is regardless, but it might be a little bit more if you haven't listened to that one first. So, we have her own 2 daughters. In 1927 is when starts. So her 2 daughters that she had with Charlie, the ones in between Melvina and Florine, I believe, are the other 2 daughters' names. So the 2 daughters in between them, they die from what they think is food poisoning. And then a year or 2 later, we have Charlie's mother, who dies of suspicious circumstances, but it's never looked into. And then we have this huge gap where, tons of stuff has happened in the middle of this. And like I said, you guys can check it out in part 1, but her oldest daughter, Melvina, has her kids, and she has 1, and then 2 years later she has her second baby, and after she gave birth she was groggy and not all there, and hallucinated seeing her mother stick a pen in her baby's head. Ugh, I just can't get over that, man. It makes my stomach hurt. But yes, the baby, something happens to it, but was she hallucinating, or was it the real deal? So then Melvina and her have a big sprawl. Melvina leaves, and she leaves her firstborn, Robert, in the care of Nannie, and he somehow dies of some unknown asphyxiation, and still nothing is suspicious, apparently, on Nannie. We'll go with that. So then you have Frank, her second husband. He dies. Pretty much no, she did that one. With reason, though. Remember, we're giving her that one. Then you have Arlie, the third husband, who dies of what is thought to be heart failure. Arlie's mother dies right after. Then Nannie goes and lives with her sister Dovie, who dies. Mind you, she's already on her deathbed, but literally dies once Nannie gets there. Very suspicious. We're totaling this up to 9 already. 9 different situations, 9 deaths right here around Nannie. Only one we really know of that was for sure her, that second husband. But let's keep on with the story. We're getting there. We're going to be wrapping it up in this part. So we left off with Nannie joining a new dating service, an upgrade from the Lonely Hearts column, if you will. And that was the Diamond Circle Club, which was a dating service, and she was looking for a new man. She meets Richard Morton, and they get married in 1952 in Emporia, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, in Kansas. So she's jumping states too while she's at it. Her mom comes and moves in with them at this time. I don't know if she was just getting very old at this time or just lonely. Literally the same day that she moves in, she dies. 3 months later, Richard dies on May 19th, 1953. Nannie was there and collected that insurance money. Nobody's seeing this as weird. This just sounds like a crazy movie or something. But like Nannie does, she gets married just 1 month later to a man in Tulsa, Oklahoma. in June of 1953, and his name is Samuel Doss. So this is where she gets the last name Doss from. She's officially Nannie Doss. Samuel had his issues, but he had experienced the loss of his entire family to a tornado. And that's so awful. He was, I believe, a pastor or a priest. He was very controlling, which we all know by now that Nannie does not like controlling whatsoever. And I guess the controlling just kind of got to her, and that fall, Samuel is hospitalized with what they think is flu. So he has these flu-like symptoms. The hospital diagnosed him with a severe digestive tract infection, and he was treated and released on October 5th. But on October 12th of 1955, 7 days later, he dies. But at this point, we know it was more likely murdered. From what we can tell, Nannie has rushed to kill him in order to collect 2 life insurance policies that she had recently taken out on him. Thankfully, this time, the doctor who had treated Samuel was alarmed and ordered an autopsy, which revealed arsenic in his system. Police now, finally, after all of this time, are now involved, but with how many deaths are we looking at now? So with the ones that I mentioned before, now we have for her 4th husband, her mother, and now her 5th husband, Samuel. So now we're up to, honestly, 12. That's 12 right there. We'll tally it back up in a minute. It's about time, but she gets arrested and she just admits everything. Like, she just does not care. She confesses to killing 4 of her husbands, her mother, her sister, her grandson, and her mother-in-law. So she's just like, I'm busted. I'm just going to say it. I don't really care at this point. She just got away with it for as long as she could, and she did not get that insurance money on Samuel. The state of Oklahoma centered its case only on Samuel Doss. Nannie Doss was prosecuted by J. Howard Edmondson, and he later, I guess, became the governor of Oklahoma. She pled guilty on May 17, 1955, and was sentenced to life imprisonment. The state did not pursue the death penalty due to the fact that she was female. Doss was never charged with the other deaths, though, and she died from leukemia in the hospital ward of the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in 1965. For real, let's tally this up. We've got some time. This episode's super short. I told you guys it would be, but you got the 2 daughters, you got Charlie's mother, you got Melvina's babies, both of them. So there's 2. There's her second baby and her firstborn. You got Frank, her second husband, Arlie, her third husband, Arlie's mother, Dovie, her sister, her own mother, her 4th husband, Richard, and her 5th husband, Samuel. That's 12. She ain't no serial killer of 11. There is 12 right there. It is crazy. Let me know what you guys think over on my podcast at Caffeine Crime podcast. This is probably the shortest episode I've ever posted, and I apologize. I know it's not much this week, but I am diving headfirst into next week's episode and new serial killer, so I'm going to try to make it as packed full of info as I possibly can so that it is longer than this. But man, I just thought it was so interesting, and we can't have a whole serial killer season without any females or serial killers, can we? So I wanted to at least have one in this season. It's crazy, guys. I'm only going to be doing 10 episodes again for this season before season 3. And with this episode, we're already over halfway through this season, which is insane. After Nannie, we got a couple more. But yeah, again, jump over to Instagram. Let me know what you guys think. I forgot to mention in part 1 of this, but I do have a Caffeine and Crime blog that has photos and all that there. You can definitely see the photos that I put on my Instagram, but I have photos, other notes and stuff like that. There really wasn't a whole lot to go off of with Nannie Doss because it was so early on in the 1900s, so I didn't really have like a lot of things besides just like some old-timey photos, not really like a bunch of links or anything like that like I normally do. But there still is blogs. Blogs go up every single time one of these episodes go up over on that podcast. And that's just caffeinecrimepodcast.blogspot.com. I believe. But it'll be in the description box for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. But again, jump over to my my Instagram at Caffeine Crime Podcast. Let me know what you guys think about the Nannie Doss case. It's crazy. Like, your own family. It's just not saying that I think or condone serial killers whatsoever, but I'm just saying, like, man, she took out a lot of her family. 12 different people. But I guess she was pretty smart about it because she was always a happy and smiling little old lady, and no one suspected the giggling granny. I'll see you guys next week.